This video is going to show how we can make marbled clay simply from two different clay bodies that are the same cone. So in my classroom, for my students, when you are doing this, you want to make sure that you have a clean work surface that you're working on. And here I am using the Laguna B-mix without grog, and I am using this white clay body as my primary clay body. You always have one that is your primary and one that is not. So this has no grog in it. And before I do anything with it, I'm just going to kind of scrape off some of the dry, crusty things that came out of the bag. So it has no grog because when I go to scrape this later, I don't want the grog to be in this clay or else it'll leave groggy scraped lines, because when you marble things, sometimes you have to scrape it. The accent clay is black and it's cone 5/6 from PSH. It's 540I black clay. I buy this from my local supplier. So I have a ratio of about 4 to 1, 4 parts of the light to 1 part of the dark. And before I start mixing it, I'm going to first slice apart my primary clay. And now I'm going to sandwich the dark in between the light. And I'm kind of doing it catty corner. And you can see I'm really smooshing it in there. And both of these clays are fairly plastic. And now for the last one, again, I'm doing it catty corner to where the last pieces were. And now I'm going to lightly wedge this together. So again, both of these clays are fairly soft. You want your clays to be plastic because we're not doing a lot of wedging and we want to get it together. So I don't want to overmix. Now this is a slightly, larger hunk of clay. So students, if you're doing a much smaller piece, you might want to do fewer wedges than I just did there. Sometimes I might only do like 6 in one direction, 6 in another direction. I did a few more because this was a pretty big chunk. This clay could be used as is now for throwing on the wheel, or I am going to show how to make a slab for hand building. Now I'm going to just pound this out to flatten it a little bit. I want to try to keep the edges from splitting, so if you see things that are splitting, just kind of heel them back together again. Now I'm using some thickness strips, but I am doubling them. So I am using 2 yellow sticks stacked together. Now my sticks, I have them color coordinated in my classroom. Yellow is 3/8 of an inch. So it's 3/8 of an inch times 2, right? So once I get it down to the level of the sticks, then I'll be ready for the next step. So I just keep rolling it just like I would any slab, picking it up, rotating it. Now I'm taking away the uppermost stick, okay? So now I just have one of the sticks on either side. Now you're going to use a wire. Do not use a bent wire like this one. See how that has a big jaggedy edge in it? You want a nice smooth wire. Get a new one if you need to. And here I'm going to cut this in a certain thickness. Now sometimes people might just use their fingers as a thickness gauge, or these are thickness gauges right here. I'll see if I can find the link for this slab cutter gauge. This is something I've had a long time, but I never use it. Or I can just use the thickness strips. So I'm pressing my wire and holding and stretching my wire really, really tightly. And I'm using my thickness strips to keep that wire a very consistent level. Kind of ease it off when you get to the very edge there. And now this is the best part of the whole thing. When you separate those 2 slabs, you have this beautiful cut surface, which is going to be just beautiful to hand build with. You can always use patterns and line them up so you get the most interesting sort of pattern on your template that you want to cut out, or any number of ways. Please check out the next video in which I will show various methods of hand building. Also, please subscribe to my channel. Obviously, you can use the same technique for prepping clay for throwing on the wheel, and I'll have another video on that as well.